Good morning. Welcome to CJ's Old Time Farm. So, first I wanted to talk about a little about some of the things that I didn't show you outside and just go over the reasons that I do it and that kind of thing. So, one of the things is I wanted to talk about a little bit about the Herbal Warmer and why I administer it the way that I do. There's a FOMACHA score, if you're not familiar with that, and I'm talking about the goats right now. If you're not familiar with that, I'll link the card. I'll find it and I'll link it in the description. So when I first got it, I tried putting it on top of their feed, and some people said that their goats ended up liking it and they gobble it up. Mine didn't. And then the other option, of course, is to drench them. And if you ever drenched a goat, it's not fun, and it stresses them out, and frankly it stresses me out. I do it when I need to, but if I really don't need to, it's certainly not something that I want to do once a week. So I also wanted to administer the copper bolus to them. So I was looking up ways to administer that without having to do the drenching. And I saw a video where this lady had, and I wish I could remember who it was, but I can't. But she had placed the copper into a piece of banana, and her goats gobbled that up. And one of my goats, she really likes bananas. She gobbles them up. But the other one, she has since showed me that she does like bananas a little, but she could smell the Herbal Warmer, and she was having none of it. And she's my most stubborn goat, Miss Fern. So I was like, all right, what else could I use? So I tried a piece of bread with peanut butter in it, and I figured, because sometimes that's how we get the dog to take her stuff, because the peanut butter sticks to their mouth and then they have to eat it. No, that didn't work for her either. So I got to thinking about it, and goats love their feed. They love molasses. And another thing that's really sweet like molasses is dates. And dates have a nice hollow center. And I already make capsules for myself and my husband from different herbs and things. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. I looked it up and it said, yeah, dates are good for treats for goats. So I made a bunch of capsules with the two different formulas. There's Formula 1, which you administer 1 week of the month. And then there's Formula 2, which you administer the 3 other weeks of the month. However, when they're pregnant, you only use Formula 2, because there's an herb in Formula 1 that can cause problems during pregnancy. So anyway, I made those capsules and I put them in the dates, and it works like a charm. So my next thing about that was, okay, in order to get the amount of the herb into them in dates, I would have sat there and fed them, I don't know, probably 10 dates each. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that unless I really have to. Maybe at that point I would have decided, well, I'm going to have to drench them. But I thought to myself, we take supplements and things to help our systems and holistically and all of that. We take them daily, and they build up in your system, and that's part of how they work. So I thought to myself, well, I'm going to run a little experiment, and I'm going to do it for a month, and I'll check their FOMACHA score every few days, just make sure that they're not getting like a big worm load and getting sick. And it works. It works really good for me. I'm not telling anyone to do this because it's not following the directions. I'm not much of a direction follower. I like to do my own thing. And so I checked their FOMACHA score, and it's better than it ever was. And I'm sure once they have their babies, you need to treat for worms and stuff at that point. At that point, I'll drench them. It's just not something I wanted to do all the time. And so that's what works, and that's when I talk about giving them their date and their wormer and stuff, that's why I'm doing it and how I'm doing it. Right now I have Molly's Herbal Warmers, and that's the Formula 1 and 2 I was talking about. I'm going to try, I think it was called Granny's, I found it on Amazon. I'm going to try that one. I know Holger's has one. I also, over the winter here, or as long as it takes, I want to try the different ones. And then I grow already most of the things that are contained, or like my neighbor has a ton of black walnut trees, so I can get all the black walnuts I want. So I want to really eventually grow everything here and try to make my own here. But for now, this works really well. And like I said, I'll try the other ones just because they're, you know, everybody's a little different. They make their own formulas, and I want to try each one and see what I think. So let's see, I made a note because I'm getting old and I'm losing it. So, what else did I want to tell you about? Oh, so the other thing that I like to do is supplement their feed with all the scraps from the house that are good for chickens, which is 90% of the stuff we eat. And I also, you know, I'll do that for the rabbits and the ducks and the goats a little, but mostly it's the chickens. They're scavengers naturally, and so they're able to eat a lot of different things, and it doesn't affect them adversely. The ducks are really good with the veggie scraps, and like you saw the other day, or maybe it's earlier, actually I think it's in this video, sorry. Like I said then, they love potatoes, they love lettuce and that sort of thing, they love tomatoes. But so I'll give them that too. And in the summer and stuff, like I said, I will do a video about the summer feedings and how everything's different then. But they get a lot of stuff from around the yard, and the ducks actually get to go around the yard. The chickens used to, and I actually want to build what I'm going to call a chicken train, which is kind of like a tractor, only they're not going to live in it. It's going to be something I can bring up to their outdoor run, lift a gate, they'll go into the little tractor, and I can bring them wherever I want in the yard for the day, and then around 4 or whatever, I'll bring them back up and put them back in their run. And it'd be easy to do because all you gotta do is throw feed and they're all on it, a little bit of corn or whatever, and that's all it's gonna take. So anyway, they get a lot of that kind of thing. But in the winter, there's not that much available. Like I talked about, or I will talk about, I do throw down hay for them, and I have that first cut hay that I use as bedding and throwing around on the ground, and they get to pick through all the seed heads for that. I also collect pumpkins from everybody that I know, and I feed that to them over the course of the winter until they run out or until they go really bad. Pumpkins are really good also, supposedly, and I've seen a difference at naturally worming your animals too. It's more the seeds than anything else, but the fiber in the pumpkins is really good for all animals, even your dogs and cat. So there's all the scraps and that sort of thing. And I've shown you how I got Christmas trees and threw them to the goats so they can have that kind of thing. What else? And then fodder. Working on perfecting my fodder system, but as far as wintertime goes, I also want to grow field peas. I have enough space around here. I want to make a patch for field peas, and then I can dry and save those as part of their food in the winter. But anyway, I'm just working on, learning all the different things that I can grow here sustainably. I only have an acre, so I can only do just so much. I watched a video by Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, and she has a really good chart and stuff for learning to mix your own feed, and they know a lot more than I do, so I'll just link that video down below for you, and you can go check that out too. DE, and that is diatomaceous earth, and what that is little sea creature diatoms, basically good fossils, and they are harvested from the bottom of the ocean floor or where there used to be an ocean floor, and they're like little sharp edges, and it will kill external parasites like the fleas, lice, mites, different stuff like that. You can put a little in their feed. It's controversial. Some people say it can work inside. Some people say it's wet, so it's not going to. If nothing else, it's going to add a little calcium. So I do add that, like I said, or I will say sometimes. And that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about in the house. I will be going outside, or I have, but I'll be attaching the videos from, excuse me, from me going outside and showing you how I mix the feed and what portions I feed to them and all that. So we'll just segue over to that, and if you like what you see and you're new here, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell, and as always, I will answer all questions and comments, and you just all have a great day. Alright guys, so it's getting dark, and I just wanted to show you mixing up this. There's, through what I do every day with this, I have this birdseed mix here, and I only do this in the winter. This is what I do feed the regular birds, but it has, you know, millet and things that the chickens could normally go and pick through the yard. So I give them just a little bit of that in their treat, in their feed as a treat. And then I got their cracked corn. I do one of these. Let's see, how many ounces is this? It equals out to about 2 of those yogurt containers. So I can make sure they're getting plenty of greens. I give them 2 scoops of the alfalfa and black oil sunflower seed mixture that I give that to the goats, you know, as a topping for their feed. I throw some out for the ducks, and the ducks do get some of this feed too. I'll even, in really cold nights, I'll even throw a little bit of that on top of the rabbits' food dishes. It's a little bit of extra protein, a little bit of extra fat. It helps them digest. And the corn and the shell on the black oil sunflower seeds their bodies have to work harder to digest it, which keeps them warmer. And you can hear my chickens all settling in for the night, quibbling over who gets which perch. This is a nightly occurrence. And so anyway, that's that. And then once a week, I'll mix in some Herbal Warmer in this. Let's see, I have it written down. 3 or 4 tablespoons. I think it's 4 tablespoons. And I'll mix that in as a preventative, especially in the winter because they're all cooped up. And that's about it for that. Like I said, I do put a little bit of apple cider vinegar or June, which is another type of kind of like kombucha. It's the champagne of kombucha. I did a video on that. I'll actually link it to this one for you. And so anyway, I put that in there, and sometimes I don't do this every day, but probably once or twice a week I do about a 1/4 cup of molasses in there, and they get apple cider vinegar or the June in their water at least every other day, usually every day. Just a little bit, like a splash. And then every couple days I'll throw them a flake of hay, so they've got weed seeds and stuff to pick through. It keeps them from getting bored, and it also gives them the extra boost of nutrition they need in the winter. I don't know if you guys can see, but Mabel is right there by Sylvie, and she is in with the flock. Her comb, it looks quite a bit pinker than it did before. It was pretty pale, and she's doing better, huh, Mabel? Yeah. Oh yeah, she's even back to her little witchy self.